Howdy! What we're up to today is we're going to put a Scotoiler system, an automatic chain oiler system in fact, on the new KTM 390 Adventure. I have one of these on my 950, which is over here, and we'll just have a look at what it does. So what it does is, using a vacuum feed from here, it opens this valve and drips oil all the way down here and along to the rear sprocket. Now what that means is that you don't need to oil your chain, and because your chain is constantly being oiled at a set rate, your chain never goes dry, and so it tends to last a lot longer than other chains. There are internet people that will tell you that is not the case, because internet people like to argue. But I've always found it's really good. It means that if I'm going on a long trip, I don't need to worry about taking chain oil with me. And I find for me it means that I don't need to adjust it as much, and it means that the chain seems to last longer. Also just mostly means that I don't have to bother carrying chain oil, which is the bane of having a chain driven bike. It's really good because it has this adjuster here, so you can set it for little bits if it's really nice conditions, and if you go off-road it's just an adjustment for a little bit more. So that's the one on the 950. Let's get to the 390. We'll have a look to see what we've got first. We've got the Scotoiler itself. Some blue chain oil stuff. Those are good for 0 to 30 degrees, which is actually pretty much all that it gets in New Zealand. You can get a red, which I have as well. And that stuff runs from, I think it's 20 to 40. So where I'm anywhere, this is good for summer and this is good for winter. Tube for that, for filling. Various bits of tube and pieces. Some cable ties. These are orange in the KTM world. That's your breather tube, various fittings, and your instructions. These are very nice print. Oh, stickers! Get some stickers too, various colours and things. I do love me some stickers. And yeah, this is the very pretty printed instructions. Essentially what this thing does, I'll just explain, is you have a, so this sits on your bike like this. This tube goes down to the chain, and then you have a vacuum line in the top. The vacuum line runs into some sort of vacuum line on your bike, and when that vacuum goes through, it pulls this little valve up, which allows oil to drip down onto your chain. There's a little breather here, so you don't get a vacuum inside of here, and that just runs around somewhere where it's not going to leak. I could probably demonstrate it. Let's see if it works. Nope, that's because I haven't turned it on. That must have looked entertaining. So, I don't know if you can see the valve going up and down there, but yeah, that's how it works in principle inside that thing. That's the holder. Okay, let's get on how you put this on the bike. Okie doke, so first step we need to do is remove the seat, which kind of reminds me of Marty and Moog's channel on YouTube, Mighty Car Mods. Seems the first thing you do with a car is, if you do anything, is jack the car up. I'm pretty sure with a motorcycle the similar one is remove your seat. So you could do this without taking the tank off. You just need to take off this side panel. So it's the bolt there too, and then it pulls out and forward. But yeah, otherwise you just need to get up and under there to that cable. it's hard to see in this jumbled mass of pipes and cables, but this is the one here that you'll be coming off of. That is your vacuum line. That one runs here all the way around to this purge valve here, and it's the left of the two lines here. It comes into the valve here and it comes back out of the valve and all the way down the back of the bike. So it's this line here that you actually want to be tapping into. So here's our bit of pipe that we've cut off of our 390. Here is our bag of bits and pieces and bolts and stuff. What we're going to do is we'll have a look at this. So to join into this piece here, we need one of these T-pieces. They come with a couple of them, but essentially all you need to do is pop that thing in there, and then your other end here goes to your line that runs to your, that end obviously is to the other side that we've cut off. Get our pipe work here. That's the pipe work that goes down to, the clear one is the one that goes down to the sprocket, so I'll just untangle all of this, put that to one side for now. And this is our pipe work that goes to the top of the Scotoiler unit. So then you take this T-piece, this one here, this one fits to the top of here, and that makes our line going. I guess if it's going back into the bike, it's going to be that way around. And you'll notice I've specifically cut it here so I can tuck it up and under the up and underneath the bike, so it's nice and neat. Okay, then this line here, this is your really thin gauge black line, that goes into this end here. Needs a little push to get in there. You don't want this coming out. Oh, and there's basically our setup to go onto the bike. Now what we can do is we can reassemble this, and then that'll give us our feed going to our Scotoiler. So we'll go back to the bike and have a look at that. Okay, now we've got our cable where we need it for the vacuum line. We can go ahead and reassemble everything else on the tank side if you've indeed taken anything off. So it's not hugely necessary, but you can do it if you need to, if you want to. So we will go ahead and put everything of that back together now. Okay, so now it's time to fit our Scotoiler up into the position we want it to be in. As I said in a previous video, I was going to put it here, and that hasn't changed, so we will get that mounted up and in here. So what I've done here is I've elected to drill out the paddock stand bobbin piece here and fit it under there. You do get options. You could fit that one in behind there. You could also get a bolt, a nut and bolt, which I entertained the idea of actually putting it here as well. But I felt that's a really secure mounting, so that one will do for me. Now we attach the hose. So I think this is the hardest bit of the job there. This is actually figuring out how to route, if you're American, this pipe from the swing arm. You have to bear in mind that the swing arm moves up and down relative to the subframe where you've got your Scotoiler reservoir attached, so you need to make sure that point where it goes from the swing arm up into the subframe is as close as possible to the swing arm pivot. And what that means is you won't have a huge amount of up and down movement. What I'm going to do for this particular application is I'm running it from the side stand bobbin all the way up to the swing arm here, and then up through into here. Now I'm a bit worried about the clearance for the chain. I think it should be alright. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill a hole through here, and then I can actually put it right through. Obviously up to you if you want to go drilling holes in your brand new bike, and you could possibly take it around the outside and things, but I want it behind everything to A, mean it's neat, and B, there's less likelihood of my boots actually going to rub or knock anything off. I will probably replace this with something later, possibly made of aluminium that doesn't collect grime and dirt and rubbish there. Pushing it in slightly for the moment just to check all my clearances, and they all look good. So that's good. So that's good for us. So we will plug in the bottom pipe, which is a tight fit. As all of this, you'll notice I haven't used any clamps on anything up to this point, because you don't actually need it. The unit itself works pretty well. And everything that you've put onto the bike is under vacuum, so it's not going to push it off, it's going to pull it on if anything else. I'm not going to fill that quite to the top at this point. So make sure this dial's turned all the way around to prime for your initial bit. These are a very particular way of priming the system, so what you need to do is take that off. Turns out my cable tie wasn't tight enough, but okay. Get your bottle, poke it on here, and then squeeze, and you can see it running. Just wait till you get a drip or two. That's all that's left to do is this unit here needs to be bent in so that it's actually just on that there. Well, there's already a slash cut in this, but you can slash cut it again. But what you got to make sure you do is the slash cut's actually facing the sprocket here, because how these work is by a little bit of oil going onto here, and then the centrifugal, I'm not going to say force because that'll cause an internet argument, but it basically forces the oil out and through and around the chain, and that's how it works. Quarantine hair. That's what happens when all of the salons are closed and not even your girlfriend can get over to cut your hair.